And so turning Little Saigon, Orange County, into one of the best places for Vietnamese people to live has always been on the top of my head of how do I create such a mini community where Vietnamese people come from Vietnam to come here to feel like home. Or, any other race in the country, when they come to Little Saigon, they feel representation of what Vietnamese people could do. That's also important. And also bridging the gap. I consider myself a 1.5 generation where I didn't come here, obviously, on a boat, right? I didn't have to flee to come here. So that's generation one. And the kids that are born here are second generation. But I came here when I was 16. I, kind of slide right in the middle. I'm not fitting to the first generation, not the second generation. So we're the 1.5 generation where we came here on a plane out of luck. How do we contribute? How do we bridge the gap? How do we bring generation 1, 1.5, and 2 together on the same table? And so we felt food was one of the other things that we really wanted to focus on, because food brings people together, and during a table full of food and having a good time, politics go away, differences go away, and they share common values. So that's how we felt. And obviously it's our home. I want Kira, which is my daughter, turned 6 this year, and that's how we call key concept because we named it after her, Kira. So we built this whole community, this company, this value that baked into our community for her, for her generations. So when I pass away, no one's going to even remember what I did, but the things that I leave onto this world is extremely important. And so that was the vision. The vision is to create this community for the next generation to come. And hopefully that we can have, obviously Vietnamese people that come here now, or the people that already lived here or born here, is proud that, there's a Vietnamese group that actually doing that.
Mr. Tuan, do you have any observations or comments?
Sure. Yeah, I enjoy this discussion, Chef Viet, and it's an amazing story that you have shared with us. A couple questions to further understand. You mentioned your vision is community, but you are focusing on restaurant. And, community is bigger than restaurant, right? So is there something else that you have in mind besides the restaurant?
Well, if we really think about it too, there's a lot of things that people want in this life, and everyone wants a nice car, probably like a nice designer bag or something, or shoes. But there's only 2 needs, right? So you need shelter and you need food. So focusing on that, we did our research too. We're like, in a lifetime of a person, if we focus strongly on building community, real estate could be something that we can look into the future. But how often do you transact a real estate transaction? You don't really get that same influencing power when you do a lot of real estate deal. It's still very important, but we feel like that's our long-term goal.
Okay.
We have a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and long-term goal.
Okay.
And the short-term goal is, what do people need 3 times a day?
Right.
Food and beverage.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You don't change your clothes 3 times a day. Maybe some do.
Okay.
But you need to eat. You need to consume food and beverage 3 times a day. Sometimes 5, sometimes 2.
Okay.
Minimum will be at least 1. So it's still once a day. That's an act that you do over 1,000 times in a year. So we felt like that is much more an influencing value. And so if you really think about it, and people talk about this a lot, right? Screen time. So Facebook have how much of your screen time a day, Instagram have how much of your screen time a day. And because of those screen time, the value is exponential, right? But people forget that we spend over 2 to 3 hours, sometimes at the minimum 1 hour for 3 meals a day. But probably going to be about 2 to 3 hours that you spend on food and beverage every day. So I consider quote unquote screen time, that you get to interact with your customer. And so we felt a strong belief that essentially the act of feeding humanity is also building community and vibe. And we consider that as the cheapest form of entertainment.
Right.
And so talk about that, then you feel like vibing, you talk about entertainment, and that could lead to another thing. That could lead to live performances, that could lead to plays, that could lead to music, that could lead to films. That to us it's all liberal arts. And one type of liberal arts is culinary art. We just know how to monetize culinary art. And as time goes along, if you really think about it, if you go to a restaurant, you go to any one of our restaurants, let's say you go to E9 today, the host that greets you, that's not how she talks to her parents. Oh, how many people in your party? How's your day today? How's your drive? You know, hope you have a good day. I mean, they don't say that. So essentially, they put it on a uniform. I call it a costume. We put on music. We put on lights. That's the stage. That's the whole stage. Everybody is a performer. You're coming in, you pay from $20 to $50 per person as a ticket. And you sit there and you enjoying this liberal art that we put together. We call it culinary art. That could easily translate to a concert. That could easily translate to anything else. So, and explaining liberal arts to a lot of people is very difficult. But if you bring them to a restaurant, they have a good time, and you ask, Mom, did you have a good time? Like, yeah, I had the best time. It was best food, best service. Like, the music's nice. Like, Mom, that was liberal arts that you just enjoyed.
Excellent.
That's good. And Pastor Tung, could I have another follow-up question?
Can I make another comment before you have a question?
Sure.
Okay.
It seemed that Chef Viet may get some idea like the slogan from Starbucks. Starbucks. Their concept is they have a few words. The third place, because the first place is home, second place office, and the third place that can provide more than what an office or home can provide, and that's Starbucks. So the way that Chef Viet presents looks like that he want to create some kind of environment like that. Okay. All right, Mr. Tuan, you go ahead.
Chef Viet, you mentioned your secret to being successful is to be disciplined, and so you mentioned you mentioned take the next step, and so I just wanted to understand: are there times that you just wanted to give up, and if you didn't give up, what are the things that help you to take the next step?
Yeah, so thanks for that question. You know, people don't ask enough of this, but there's some misconception out there, or this kind of myth that, you know, oh, everything you touch turn to gold. And I'm like, no, it's not. People we don't advertise, hey, we fail on this project. You know, our success rate right now is about 55 to 60%.
Okay. That's better than 51, which is fine.
Yes, so that's what we feel when we think about doing this in the long run. And if anyone knows Simon Sinek, right? He wrote the book called Start With Why, Leaders Eat Last, and then obviously those latest ones were one of my favorite is the oh man, it's kind of escaped me right now. The Infinity Game, right? So or is that the Infinity Game? So yeah, so there's finite game, and there's the infinite game. The infinite game, there you go. The infinite game. So you're in this life playing this game, and people think there has to be win or lose. There's no such thing. You just do, and you just try to survive as long as you could, because this life, to us, we don't know where an end is, so we just treat it as it's gonna go infinite. And sometimes the games just keep on going, even if you exit this life, it's still gonna go. Key concept would probably still be here another few lifetimes without me. So that's what we focus on. And so, like you said, what is our vision? So we ask ourselves that vision, we focus on that vision, we're taking next steps. And like you asked, is there a time that we just want to give up? Yes, absolutely. It's almost every day. Almost every day. And we ask ourselves a lot of we have a lot of projects. So there's projects that we work on, and we, you know, just let's call it a stop here, right? Because we don't give up on the vision. You give up on the step. So let's just say you're taking the next step, but if you turn to a wall and you can't get into that vertical mountain, obviously you have to go back and you take another step on another way.
Okay.
But you never give up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You hit roadblocks, yes, but you never give up on the vision. You give up on, okay, well, you try everything in this roadblock. Like, there's no way that I can get through this. But I would never give up hitting that vision. So I'm going to go back to where I started and I take another route.
Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Excellent. Looks like that you are on a very right path, because our ministry has a kind of similar process. We try to recruit and qualify leaders for a ministry, but both I myself and Mr. Tuan would not live long enough to see the outcome. But we wish in due time those people that we mentor will continue the process.
Yes.
So exactly, I think that you see, exactly, you are a visionary person to see the long shot, but not just to do step by step. And you read. But curiously, does key concept connect with, affiliate with other business entity that share the same concept?
Same vision? Or same
the
style?
vision, yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's a few other companies that we model ourselves after. You know, obviously they call it the Optimist Company by Simon Sinek. You know, we used all of his leadership training during our focus. But there's a few other companies that we found ourselves really aligned with our vision. One of the ones obviously would be probably SpaceX, not the leader themselves, but obviously the exploration company. I feel like what keeps you up at night, but what makes you wake up in the morning? And so explorations is within our blood. And so we found that as an exploration company, and we do all sorts of exploration every day. We like Apple quite a bit for what they do and for what they contribute. There's a few other companies that, you know, I would like to not name names right now, but we talk very often in our company. But those, I would say, the three that we found profound interest or the same vision in a lot of ways.